I have something funny to tell you, though.
Okay.
I put on perfume today. I haven't done that the full quarantine time. I have not put on perfume, but I felt like I should wear it today, even though they can't smell me. Yeah. But it just makes me feel like I'm more prepared. So
I love it.
Thanks. Hey, I'm Nicole.
Hi, I'm Dee Dee.
Have you ever had a voice in your head that has told you that you're not good enough? There's something you really want to do, but you just couldn't step forward because of that nagging voice that said, who do you think you are? Well, today I'm going to ask Dee Dee a question about a conversation we had about 6 months ago and how one of those voices crept in.
Okay, so our first podcast. This is exciting.
I know, I'm excited.
So as we've been going through all this crazy time in the world, I was thinking of a couple of questions for you.
Okay, shoot.
And I know that one of the things you say is your family is thriving during this time.
Yes.
What do you think has been the difference with your family and what you guys are doing so that you are thriving during this time?
Oh, that's a good question. But I have to tell you that I made a comment about my family thriving in front of someone else, and my 16-year-old heard me say it. And she looked at me and she goes, I am not thriving. So maybe I'm speaking out of turn as far as for the whole entire family. But in general, we have been doing really well. I didn't know how it was going to be having my husband home from work. He travels a lot. So having him have his home office and do work, and then spreading out and having my home office, and then the kids all do schooling. I have 4 for the listeners that don't know me. Having everybody have their own space. In the very beginning, it felt like, how are we going to make this work? But once we started talking about it, I think that's one of the things we did. Like in the beginning, we together tried to decide how we were going to make this all work. Like, this is your space, this is your time. I respect the fact that you want to spend time in your bedroom, but yet we had like collective movie nights in the beginning. Elena started baking like crazy. Like, she has been rolling out great things. The kids have been bantering in a fun way together that I haven't seen in a while. Like, we turned into today. Actually, we introduced our 3rd teenager into the house because today's my son's birthday. So I have 3 teenagers.
Happy birthday to Jonah.
Happy birthday, Jonah. But they were all doing the teenager thing before, and now we're in a position where everybody's bantering in a fun way and spending time and checking in on each other and traveling into each other's spaces a little more.
Yes.
So I think that what it came down to is the way my husband and I handle it is the way that the rest of the family was able to embrace it. Ben and I said this could be terrible or this could be awesome, and we both decided it was going to be awesome. And then our attitude with that just spread. So I feel like we've spent a ton of time together, and then I've respected our time apart. And that has put us in a position of, overall, we're coming out stronger after this for sure.
Nice.
Yeah. I think I'm actually, when my daughter leaves to go back to school next fall, I'm going to be more sad of her leaving the second time
that's so
than I was the first time around. Because the first time around, I was kind of like, bye-bye, like, fly from the nest, little birdie. And this time around, we have just really been enjoying our time together. So I'm going to be watching New Girl by myself, and it's going to make me sad, but it's been good.
Good.
Yeah.
Nice. So when we can travel again, where's the first place you want to go?
Okay, so I have been creating virtual vacations for myself. I have quite a few planned. The Grand Canyon is one of them that my family has yet to visit. And Jackson Hole, Wyoming, I was there as a teenager. I have also planned a trip to Thailand. That's I have that one completely booked. And Northern California, that like the redwoods and stuff, we haven't seen that either. So I am I at least once a week I just plan my own virtual trip. So oh my gosh, I'm going to be so excited to travel again.
So it could be the Grand Canyon or Thailand, and somewhere in between.
Yeah, there's so many places to see. Yes. I mean, I've done a lot of international travel, but I'm still, and there's a lot of places in the United States I haven't seen yet. So that I'll be ready to go for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what is one book that you have read recently that you would highly recommend to other people? Any topic, any genre.
Okay. So this isn't recently,
Okay.
but I was really, really excited to see that one of my favorite books is going to become a movie. It's Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers. And it has been one of my favorite books of all time. I see you looking at your bookshelf. Is it
right
over
here.
there? Yes. So I almost feel like I could have a physical reaction when you talk about that book. There's a number of reasons it's my favorite book. One, it's just an amazing story. Yes. But I read it when I was in Haiti the very first time, and there was rioting going on while we were there, and we were quarantined to campus, and there were gunshots, and there was fire and smoke, and I spent a lot of time in prayer, and then I couldn't sleep all night, and I spent one whole night overnight reading this book. And so there's something about it so before it comes out to the movie theaters, I would want to recommend Redeeming Love to all listeners, because this book, there's something really special about this book. Have you read it?
Awesome. I have not read it.
Girl,
It's on my list.
there you go. Yes, so I'm really excited.
Have they assigned the cast?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's set to come out like next spring or summer. So
Awesome.
get on it, and then we
Love
can
it.
talk about it. I might have to read it again before the movie actually comes out, because I don't want to be disappointed by the movie.
Yeah,
so I got to keep that in mind. So
Very
anyway, okay,
good.
so that was my 3 questions, right?
Yes,
I love,
those are your
and
3.
you didn't give them to me ahead of time, so I think it's fun and scary at the same time to be popped into 3 questions. But so now I'm going to go ahead and bring the total topic today to the table.
Okay.
And I think you know what it's going to be, but I changed my mind.
Did you give me a twist?
I'm twisting it. It
Okay.
totally changed my mind. Because it was literally on the car on the way here. I thought, nope, I think that really this is what we need to cover. So
I love it.
when you and I originally talked about doing this podcast, I brought it to you, and you're kind of a yes girl, which I'm a yes girl too, right?
Yes.
We say yes, and then we think about it later.
Yeah.
So you were
That's
like,
right.
yes, totally on to it. So you said yes, we started talking about it, but when you were alone, you were having some other thoughts in your head. And on one of our runs, we were running buddies, and we spend a lot of time hashing life out on our runs. You admitted to me that you had a voice in your head that said, who do you think you are to do a podcast?
That's right.
And I thought that was really powerful, because I think of how many times that voice creeps into my head in different aspects of my life, of when I'm trying something new, and then there's that voice that says, you can't do this. You're not good enough. You're not pretty enough. You're not outgoing enough. You're not quiet. And, all the different you're not enoughs.
Yes.
And so anyway, I wanted to kind of open that up and talk about why do you think that voice spoke to you at that time? And we're still here, so how did you get past that?
Yeah, I would like to say that's the only time that voice has spoken to me. But the fact is, it's not. That voice speaks to us all day long. And it comes from our conditioning. It comes from messages we've heard, whether from somebody in our life or what we've created in our own minds, as the reason something didn't work out, or the reason we're in the situation we're in. I read a book that I love. It was called Fierce Conversations, I believe is the name of it. And one part of that book says we have conversations continually all day long. Sometimes they're with other people. And I found that to be so true, because we do. We continually have conversations and evaluate, okay, am I enough? Am I good enough to do this? Am I relevant enough? Am I consistent enough? And we see our flaws more than anybody else does. And that fear just holds us back. It holds me back from a lot of things. But the way I got over it, that's a great question. because I can't say that I have gotten over it, actually. It's more, what am I going to choose to believe? Am I going to choose to believe what the Lord tells me about myself in the Bible, like when he speaks about me? Am I going to believe that? Or am I going to believe those doubts that want to creep in? And it's a decision. It's a decision to make. And a lot of people do affirmations, and at first I thought, that is the craziest thing I've ever heard, like doing an affirmation. Looking in the mirror and speaking positive words over yourself, that's crazy. But when you speak those words over yourself, it does change the way that stories play out in your mind. And I think that's so powerful that we have the courage to step up and say, yeah, I'm going to go out and I'm going to try this, and it might not work, regardless of what it is. But the failing is in the not trying.
I think it's so important for us to talk about this because you're super involved with like PTO at school, and you have a career that you enjoy, and you have a beautiful family. And from the outside, there's women that have that voice that's speaking to their head, and they look at you as if you've got it all figured out, or that you don't have that voice speaking to you, or if I could only be like Dee Dee, then things would be better. And so I love that this actually is how we're kicking off this whole journey that we're on, because it's time for us to really talk about that out loud, about the fact is that we battle that voice all of the time. And it may be our own criticism of ourselves or the fear of being criticized by someone else.
Yes.
And so I've had conversations with people before, and they've been surprised that I have that same insecurity or that same voice inside of me. And I love that you have been open enough to me and raw enough with me that when that voice spoke to you, you wanted to say it out loud. Because it's super powerful to say it out loud. The enemy doesn't have a stronghold on it when you say it out loud.
That's right.
And so that's really what I hope to do with this, is I hope that we're going to start saying things out loud, and that other people feel brave enough also to say it out loud, and that the enemy will be like, crap, we've got a problem here.
Yeah.
So,
and to know you're not the only one. To know that, other people have struggled with this, but they've also overcome it as well, and not let them hold them back. So I love that you brought this topic, because I was thinking about something earlier this week. Okay, go with me for a minute. I sometimes have stories and thoughts.
I'm with you.
Yes. So imagine coming to the end of your life here on this earth, and you're talking to somebody about what your life was like when you were here. But what you're telling them is all those hopes you have, all those dreams you have, all the goals that you have, that you say, one day I want to achieve this, one day I want to do this, one day I want to support this organization, one day I want to be a part of this organization. All those hopes and dreams you have now. Imagine yourself explaining that to somebody at the end of your time here on this earth as though you had done it. What was it like? What did it feel like? Explain that experience to somebody. Put yourself in that place. And then put yourself in that same place and tell somebody, I wanted to do this, but I was too afraid to. I wanted to do this, but I thought people would misunderstand me. I wanted to do this, but I thought, like you mentioned earlier, somebody would tell me I wasn't good enough, or I would find out myself, I didn't have the skills to do that at that time. I never want to come and tell that story and say I was too afraid, because there are things I've passed up in my life that I was too afraid, or I didn't feel like I was enough. And I look back on it and I think, man, Dee Dee, what an opportunity you missed out on to experience whatever that was going to bring to the table.
And we have little
do that
people
again.
watching us.
We do.
We do. I mean, you're a mom of 3 beautiful girls, and I have 3 girls and a boy, and they are watching.
They are watching. And isn't it interesting how you can see the insecurities in them, and it's a reflection of it in you? And I know that you're very intentional with the way you speak to your kids and build them up. And I find as our kids get older, it causes us to change more and take more of an internal look. Okay, well, what are we showing them? Yeah. And I don't want that for them. So.
I am so glad you didn't listen to that voice. I'm so glad that we are here. I'm excited about just speaking life into people, like, as much as possible. And you, over the years, you have spoke so much life into me. And so being able to do this together with you is really exciting. We started this because we realized that the things that we felt the world were telling us, we'd had enough of it. And also because we know that we were created to be enough. And so together, those two things is why we're here. And
I'm so grateful for your friendship and all your guidance and leadership over the years. And one of the great things about you is you call me up. You're like, okay, let's do this. Step up to this level. You can do it. And I love that challenge. And I love a friend that says, come with me on this journey. It's so fun.
Oh, you're going to make me cry. Well, I'm ready to call more people up with us.
Yes.
Because,
let's do it.
Because we do have little people watching. And we need to be a generation that steps up. Because I fear that fear, anxiety, fear, and doubt is creeping in more than ever, and it's going to prevent us from raising the next generation of those people that are going to step up. So anyway,
I love it.
All right, well, we did it. We did our first episode, and I'm glad that you said I can do this.
I'm glad that this was the topic for our first one. Yeah, because there are so many people that have dreams out there that are thinking, can I? Am I good enough? Yes, go for it. If you have that passion, you have it for a reason.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you for joining us today. If you want to hear more, you can go to our website at liveyourdesign.life to subscribe to this podcast. You can also find out about our coaching business as well as our social media links so you can follow us.
Until next week, guys. Goodbye.